Over the past couple of years, I've realized there's a lot of correlation between faith healers, the people that show up on TV and claim they can heal people, and it's the power of God working through them. And it doesn't matter what religion, whether it's Christian, Judaism, Islam, they all make religious claims. Their God heals people. Okay, now, I'm a guy who values critical thinking over faith claims, all right? Faith is important to people. It gives them purpose, meaning, and community. And to be honest, all of those things are quite intoxicating for a Homo sapien looking for those things. Now, you got to step back from your own wants and desires and acknowledge the fact that you're susceptible toward bias, toward tribalism. That's just you being a human. But as you grow up, you realize the claims that your mom and dad made about Santa Claus need evidence. They need to be supported, or else you should just abandon those beliefs. Now, I'm not saying anyone in this video should abandon any type of faith belief in a God or whatever. That's not the point of the video. The point of this video, let me be clear, is to show you the correlation in psychology between how a lot of DeFi projects set themselves up and say, if you just trust us, you'll be rich. Now, they won't say you'll be rich. They'll just say you'll make 10% a month, 20% a month, whatever. Now, you might say, Jonathan, but aren't you one of their promoters? Here's the thing. Read the name of my channel. I created a channel called FUD Farm, not Shill Farm, not, hey, I'm going to talk positive about everything. I always overemphasize the risks in every DeFi project that I'm in. I believe in freedom of speech and freedom of commerce, which means I believe people should be able to put their hard-earned money to work wherever they want. If they want to go to the casino, if they want to buy their state lottery ticket, we live in a world where people allow that. In fact, even right now, we live in a world, especially the United States, that allows people to put money in meme coins. Can you imagine having a coin called Dog with Hat or Doge and seeing it rise to be billions of dollars in market cap? What's going on there? This isn't about people being deceived. Everyone that's in Doge or Dog with Hat knows that it is a speculative bet. It's just a gamble. Look at DJT, Donald Trump's stock right now. It is a speculative bet. Everybody knows that it's not a $4 or $5 billion valuation. The revenue is, I think, 200, 300 million. So we all know what we're getting into. And this fake sense of virtue signaling, well, I didn't know what I was getting into. Yes, you did. And if you watch my videos, you definitely do. For the last couple of years, go watch my videos. You'll hear me overemphasize risk and underemphasize the opportunity. And this is where I want to do a review of a faith healer. I haven't watched this full video, but I respect this guy because he practices critical thinking over just wishful thinking. I think a lot of us live in wishful thinking. We never really move toward critical thinking. And critical thinking should be taught in our local high schools because so many people are gullible. They watch legacy media. They think that they're getting the news rather than getting the narrative. That's all they're getting. You're getting a Fox News narrative of reality, or you're getting a CNN narrative of reality. You're not getting the truth, okay? Truth is not easily accessible. It requires that you do a lot of critical thinking and have the skills to be able to listen to a claim and then examine the evidence. So we're going to do this together in this video. I hope it helps because if anything, I want to be doing my part in overemphasizing that everything in crypto is a gamble. It is not an investment. The only thing close to being an investment could be a Bitcoin ETF because it is backed with an insurance, all right? The government insurance, it's backed, but Bitcoin is probably the only thing right now that I would look at and say that probably over time would be a store of value. It isn't a company though. It doesn't have revenue, but it is what I've seen is there's a common belief across multiple countries. And typically if a belief becomes strong enough, it becomes a quote unquote reality. And so Bitcoin, yeah, I think it's around, but everything else is speculative. All right. Until there's real world utility, until we see it being backed by, certain things. So here we go. Let me just watch this video together. I'll make commentary. If you want to look this guy up, his name is Holy Kool-Aid. And we'll just kind of watch and examine how these faith healers work. And we'll see if there's any correlation between this and the stock market, DJT, this and crypto, meme coins, this and crypto with DeFi projects. All right, let's watch this.
While the Reverend Popoff claims he receives gifts of the spirits, in reality, his only gift is a $20,000 radio transmission link with which his wife, backstage, could...
Yeah, this guy would do faith healings and he'd have a microphone in his ear giving him like what the names of people were, what their symptoms were. So it looked like he was prophetic.
communicates to him through a tiny receiver hidden in his inner ear.
And how apparent healings regularly turn out to not be healing.
So this is the YouTuber's channel. Look at his hair. It's pretty beautiful. I mean, rock on, buddy. This guy is the one that creates the videos. He's going to give commentary. And he used to be a Christian. I don't think he is anymore. I think he's more agnostic. But regardless, who cares? Let's just listen to what he has to say. Put on our critical thinking caps.
At all upon further follow-up with the sick individuals.
And speaking of missed, who missed the truth about this woman who claimed to be born profoundly deaf, unable to hear a word? But Candy's doctor, Howard House, he's treated her more than 35 years.
She was born with a very severe hearing loss. She was not born deaf.
But clearly these people who are coming forward aren't all just plants paid off by the faith healers. Many of them genuinely believe that they've been healed, sometimes even right up until their resulting premature death.
When he laid hands on Laura Twilley 2 years ago, she told everyone it was a miracle cure.
I have cancer all over my body, and I haven't been able to walk at all. It's pretty much stand, and I'm doing pretty good now.
She even threw away her cancer-fighting drugs. But within 2 months, she was dead.
If they believe this strongly, surely they're experiencing something which they genuinely believe to be a supernatural experience. But just what exactly are they experiencing?
And what he's saying is just because you experience something, some sort of emotion, euphoria, doesn't necessarily mean that it's true. That's like critical thinking 101.
Today, I've teamed up with the actress, author, and former evangelical Alice Gretchen to explore this topic. Both of us grew up in charismatic Christian environments, believing that faith healing was as much a part of reality as our morning Cheerios.
But we experienced it in very different ways. And since having those experiences, we've both been driven to investigate the neuroscience behind faith healing.
So we thought we'd paint a picture.
So I respect people that are driven toward investigation. I don't respect people that simply just believe. There's nothing of value to me, and there's nothing that is worthy of you getting credit for simply having a belief. There isn't a virtue in believing. There is no, wow, have a strong faith, or that guy has a strong faith, that guy's awesome. No, you don't get a biscuit, you don't get a cookie for having faith, for having a belief. Where you get credit, at least in my perspective, is when you do investigating claims over just believing things.
Picture for you of what it's like to be in the shoes of someone getting a faith healing.
You walk into a church having heard elaborate stories about a preacher with miraculous healing power.
On the large overhead displays, testimonies of his divine healings reinforce this narrative. Emotional music kicks in. Its rise and
Flow induces feelings of emotional openness. Joining in song, hands clapping, body swaying, you're lost in collective effervescence merging into a unified group.
Closing your eyes, you lift your hands in the air, swept up in the shared moment.
Fixating on God's love ushers you into a state of bliss, euphoria, and an almost dreamlike sense of hyper-reality. Anything is possible in this space.
Having been primed into a state of openness and emotional vulnerability, the service transitions into a sermon where miracles are once again touted as commonplace and simply a prayer away for those who believe.
The larger-than-life pastor boldly boasts with faux humility about the many times that God's used him to heal the sick.
With your faith now reinforced,
with faux humility.
another worship song sets the emotional mood yet again.
It's finally time. The pastor announces the altar call, inviting anyone who wants to...
And every altar call, there has to be a pad. That's where the keyboard just plays these long droning... I mean, if you've ever been in a room where you hear just the pad, maybe it's been a concert. For me, it was growing up in a church. I mean, it is intoxicating. It is hard not to just cry. Even at the, you could read the phone book and get someone in tears. At least that's been my experience from being on stage, whether it was at a youth event or what. I mean, getting a youth to cry is literally ridiculous, and I think it's awful to prey upon people that don't have critical thinking skills established, because they oftentimes you're manufacturing your messages to move them emotionally rather than intellectually. And I think if the adult in the room knows that's what they're doing and still persists on doing it that way, that's pretty shady.
Receive a healing to come forward.
Your heart pounds with hope. Your blood tingles with anticipation.
Surrounded by the confidence of the believers around you, at last you're ready for your faith to be rewarded. It will be. You're certain of it. God won't let you down. Today, just as the preacher said, is your day to get healed.
Everything in you yearns to walk that aisle, but your fear of the spotlight briefly holds you back. It's overcome by your desire to belong and your fear of being viewed as an outsider, which flicks through your subconscious, propelling you into the herd flocking forward.
Adrenaline surges through your body, and without thinking, you find yourself among dozens of others clambering forward to receive prayer. First in line, those seated at the front, rush forward with unshakable faith. As the most loyal followers and most easily suggestible, they set the stage for the crowd's expectations.
With sweat on your brow, your hands quivering outstretched, you close your eyes as the...
Just a side note, I know you want to get back to this, but this is why AI, I believe, is going to be so much more beneficial. than we can understand. When you look at these clips, these are real human beings. Look how ridiculous human beings are. We are so easily convinced, easily persuaded. We don't require a lot of data. Our emotions can take over if we're not careful. And this happens in crypto. It happens, so you have to be careful. Everyone that is on legacy media, they know how to speak in such a way to compel you, to move you, to persuade you. Like, think of the American equivalent of the CIA. They have a division literally called the propaganda division. That's because if you can master human psychology, you can move humanity toward your ends, all right? And it's not that hard to figure out Homo sapiens. They're easily persuadable. Whereas AI, has definitely some strengths. AI doesn't forget. AI, would just be data dependent. So anyways, just want to make that side note.
Pastor inches towards you, person by healed person.
One by one, they tremble under his hand, diseases, demonic and physical, fleeing their bodies at the touch of God through this vessel of a man. Your ailments will be cured too. All you need is faith.
Those at the front crumple to the ground, shaking in a state of mass hysteria as the pastor shouts repetitive proclamations, inducing a near hypnotic state. You're now fully primed, and he's now standing before you, his eyes piercing through.
And remember, guys, like it's been proven, like this isn't supernatural. Because if you're like, well, it is. Let's say you're a Christian right now watching this and you're getting upset. You're like, he's attacking Christian. No, I'm not. Like, this is, again, your biases surfacing. Pay attention to them. I haven't offered anything but facts. I'm examining these species called Homo sapiens. And I'm looking at them and realizing that they can be moved toward crazy things like dancing and, acting like, shaking like this girl here in the video, purely by naturalistic means. All right. And if you're like, well, I don't know, if most Christians I know don't believe that true miracles happen in Islam or Judaism or a sect, even a sect of Christianity, like Jehovah's Witnesses don't believe in Mormons. Mormons don't think that evangelicals are doing it right. Evangelicals think they're the only ones that are going to heaven. We all have these like tribal beliefs. It helps us feel like, we're the chosen ones and everyone else isn't. And we'll say things like God loves everybody, but we also believe in our heart that if they don't believe the same way we do, that love of God turns off at their last breath, which ultimately really isn't love at the end of the day, because I don't know about you, but all my loved ones, the moment they die, I still continue to love them. If anything, I miss them and love them even more, or realize how much I loved them. But anyways, we're not going to get into that. I'm not attacking a specific faith. I'm attacking faith. These people in this video that are simply caught up in the emotion, not using critical thinking. Look at what's happening. They're becoming victims of religious, therapeutic drama. I don't know what else to call it, but it's, hey, if it works, maybe it's a good thing, right? If it gives people hope and meaning. But we're sharing stories here where the lady literally stops taking her cancer medication or whatever because she believes she's healed. These guys are absolutely insane what they do, and it happens all over the world. It's not just a Christianity thing. It's every religion, every cult that's ever started. It's always someone with a special word from the Lord or special gift from God. It's just so every generation has always fallen for these things. And we got to use critical thinking. We've got to examine things a little bit stronger than just falling for everything.
You.
A chill shivers down your spine. Your arms prickle with goosebumps, feeling the eyes of hundreds behind you, waiting to witness the miracle of your healing, affirming the promise of their own. You dare not disappoint.
He lays his hands on your head, and others gather around, laying hands on you in prayer. In automatic response to human touch, your body releases oxytocin, calming your nerves and sending a feeling of warmth through your body.
This cocktail of neurochemicals, such as dopamine, serotonin, and norepinephrine, fusing with the oxytocin, numbs your pain. Coupled with faith, you're now experiencing the ultimate placebo effect.
Is it hurting now?
A little bit on the left side, yes.
Check it right now for me, please.
No.
No. Something's happening with these people up here on this side.
Praise the Lord.
In this moment, you are convinced that the Spirit of God is descending on you, and you wholeheartedly embrace your miracle.
The fire of God, he yells, and your shaky legs give way, falling back into the waiting arms of the catchers positioned behind you.
You've just been healed.
Or have you?